When I was like 10 or 11, I tried football. I was like, this is trash. I was terrible. I was a big kid. I had to play with the older kids. Kids was way more mature and advanced than me. They was killing me. I was like, bro, this is trash. Like, I used to hide like in the back of drills. Me and my dad used to write goals every year. So when I started playing football, I get to high school. Some of my goals in high school were I wanted to be an Army All-American and a McDonald's All-American. My goal was to play football and basketball in college. And I wanted to be the first person to play in the NBA and NFL.
Welcome to In Search of Excellence, where we meet entrepreneurs, CEOs, entertainers, athletes, motivational speakers, and trailblazers of excellence with incredible stories from all walks of life. My name is Randall Kaplan. I am a serial entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and the host of In Search of Excellence, which I started to motivate and inspire us to achieve excellence in all areas of our lives. My guest today is my good friend, Arik Armstead. Arik is a star defensive lineman, NFL football player for the San Francisco 49ers. In addition to being an absolute beast on the field, Arik is an active and very dedicated philanthropist, has been nominated for the NFL's Walter Payton Man of the Year Award for each of the past 4 seasons, which is given annually to commemorate a player's excellence on the field and commitment to philanthropy and community impact off of it. Arik, it's a true pleasure to have you on my show. Welcome to In Search of Excellence.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Psyched you're here. So I always start my podcast with our family because our family helps shape our personalities, our values, and our future. Mm-hmm. Your mom had a very interesting background. We'll start with your mom. Your mom had a very interesting background. She wrote a book. Mm-hmm. She was an illegitimate daughter of a minister, and she's had a very inspirational story growing up in South LA. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about your mom and the impact she had on you growing up.
Definitely. My mom, she's from LA, born and raised. And, you know, what I remember, we used to always come here as a kid. All her family is still here, but just like what I remember about my childhood is like her never wanting to like raise us in LA. And that's the reason that she left and went to Sac State and met my dad and never really came back just from all the different struggles that she dealt with, you know, growing up in the jungles and having to experience, you know, gang violence and, you know, not really feeling safe. And, you know, my mom at the time, she's light-skinned with red hair. No one really looks like her. No one really, so she never really felt like she had any place for her or fitted in. And, you know, her writing her book and, you know, being able to even, you know, I've heard these stories, but her like laying it all out for people, you know, to read and talk about and discuss. I think it opens up conversations for people who go through, you know, similar, you know, situations. You know, my childhood, I knew the story of, you know, how she was born or came about, and I knew of the relationship with my grandmother and her counselor, pastor at the time, you know, in the Catholic Church. And, you know, that was always like a weird thing to me. Like I never met that side of my family. And so that's like the one kind of Caucasian side of my family, but, you know, no one really knows anything about them. And so, yeah, it's very interesting. I definitely am super proud of her for getting that done. She's, you know, talked about it for a long time. And, you know, the main message of the book is, you know, in her search of not really knowing who her father was, she found her real father, which is her Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, it's a great memoir. And definitely proud of her, and anybody wants to read it, check it out. There's a lot more details and stories in there. Yeah, she had a wild upbringing, shot in a drive-by here in LA.
She was shot in a drive-by?
Yeah.
Where was she shot?
She got shot in her back. It was a drive-by. She was at her cousin's house.
Through the window kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were shot up the house, and bullets came flying through the house. And so yeah, she has a lot of crazy stories. Grew up as a black Muslim here in LA, which was, you know, a big thing during that time period. My grandmother was in the Catholic Church. Then she was a black Muslim. At one point, my mom has kind of been in every religion, and always searching to be a part of something and feel like she fitting in. And, you know, and throughout this process, she, you know, found her Lord and Savior. So
let's talk about your dad, Gus, one of the most respected basketball trainers in the United States. Mm-hmm. Played at Sac State, then he became a trainer, trained for 35 years now, over 500 NBA players. Mm-hmm. What was it like having him as a dad growing up and hanging around all those cool dudes?
It was amazing. I definitely feel like I had a unique childhood, and, you know, love my dad, and being a father, you know, now myself, and really understanding like the commitment to your family, you know, makes me appreciate him and love him even more. But the cool job that he had in terms of training NBA players, you know, he trained NBA players, elite college guys, elite high school guys. And so I just remember, you know, growing up, like I was his tag along, like wherever he went, you know, whether it was on the road, you know, scouting, you know, college games and or whether it was in the gym. I was just, that was my childhood. That was my upbringing, just being a gym rat. I used to get mad when he like didn't like wake me up if I overslept and he went to the gym. I'm like, dang, I gotta stay at the house all day. I just love being in the gym and being around the guys, and it really shaped like who I am. Like what I do now, being a professional athlete, like it never seemed like too big to me. Like it always seemed attainable because I was around people that did it, and you know, I saw like the ins and outs of like what got them there, how hard they worked, and so I felt like, you know, if I work hard, I can do it too. And so yeah, it was great. You know, sports is obviously huge in my family. You know, so definitely growing up, basketball was huge. Then I got into football a little later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few. I hope you're enjoying this video so far, but before we jump back in, I want to know if you've ever thought about what you need to do to reach the next level of success in your life. Over the last 25 years, I've been an advisor to more than 50 companies. I've invested nearly 100, including Google, Lyft, and Seagate, and I also co-founded a company that today is worth more than $15 billion. I've been incredibly blessed in my journey, and at this stage in my life, I want to give back. I want to share the lessons I've learned so you can reach incredible success way faster than I did. In my own journey, I've learned that having the right mentor is a massive advantage to achieving our goals. I'm hugely passionate about mentoring others, and I'm looking for a few hungry entrepreneurs who are excited to take action on their journey to incredible future success. So if that's you, I've got an opportunity. In the description of this video, there's a link where you can apply to work with me. All you need to do is answer a few simple questions, and if you're a good fit, my team will reach out so we can build a game plan together. All right, now let's get back to the video. Were you the coolest kid growing up? Because you had all these NBA guys having dinner at your house, you get to hang out. I mean, when I was younger, I saw the center of the Detroit Pistons once. I can't even remember his name. I saw him in a building. I said, oh my God, that guy's huge. I watch him on TV all the time. But do people want to come hang out with you and, you know, sit at your dinner table and have all these guys and say, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I think people really didn't know like all the way, like my friends and stuff at school. It wasn't like something that we like boasted about per se. It definitely, so I don't think I was the coolest kid by any means. I had to kind of grow into that, being a young man and working through adolescence. Like it's tough for everyone. So I wouldn't say I was the coolest kid on the block, but my dad and, you know, what he did and who I was able to be around was pretty cool. You know, this guy named, a lot of people might not know him, but his name is Mike Wilkes. Played in the NBA like 12 years. When I was a kid, met him. He came out to train with my dad his first summer out of college, and throughout the course of our relationship, he started staying at our house every summer and training with my dad. And so being around him, this is an undrafted guy who played extremely long time. He coaches for the Thunder now. So being around him and seeing how he operated, not only as a pro athlete, but as a man. He's a man of high character, and does things the right way. And he had a family. He wanted to get a wife, and that's what he was on. So that's like what I was on too as like a kid. Like as a kid, I was like, yeah, all this stuff that like my peers and stuff are doing, that's cool, but like there's more for me in life, and like I'm gonna have more fun. Like when I was in high school, I was like, I'm gonna have more fun in college. When I was in college, I was like, I'm gonna have more fun when I'm a pro. So I just made, sacrifices and try to separate myself from my peers, because I really didn't like think the stuff they were doing was that cool. And I really learned that from Mike and being around him. And the sacrifices that he made training wise, and I never seen him party, never seen him drink or smoke anything. He was big on his faith. And so having an NBA player like that living with you during the summer and like being around him and being able to call him like a brother, that really like shaped me as well too, and the type of person I am today, because like I kind of tried to do all those things as well too.
You do, and we're going to get into some of those later. You mentioned that you weren't boastful. You had all these guys coming over your house, and we went to dinner. I went to dinner with your family maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and met your mom, met your dad. And one of the impressions I walked away with is how humble they are, and you're a very humble guy. Did they come from your parents? Did they tell you, hey, we're not going to show off, we're not going to be flashy? I mean, you're known to be a very humble guy. We've known each other now 7, 8 years, and I've never seen you be arrogant. I've never seen you be cocky. I mean, even when we text, great play, it's like, oh yeah, man, thanks.
I think definitely, not only just my parents, but just, growing up in the church, growing up in our faith, and really like, when you have compassion for like other people, and you have empathy for other people, and you're able to think outside of yourself, and see other people and not just get so caught up in, what you have going on in your life, I think that gives you a level of, humility. And, you have to like, those both go like hand in hand, humility and compassion. I feel like because, we have to bring ourselves like back to reality and, realize that we really aren't that special. Like, I have a cool job. I play football. But
very cool job, by the way.
Yeah, I have a cool job. I play football. I'm blessed. But other than that, like that doesn't make me different than anybody else. That doesn't put me like on a pedestal over anybody else. Because also too, like I'm blessed. Like that all wasn't just me, my life has been guided, my footsteps have been guided by God, and it's a whole host of people that have allowed me to be successful. And even like at a young age, like always appreciated like things that I saw. Like I like even as like a kid, like some of my friends, like parents were going through a divorce, and I was like, man, like I don't have to experience that. Like dang, like I'm blessed. Like dang, I feel bad for them. I have compassion for that. Like, man, I can't imagine having to. And so but you can only think like that when when you're not so caught up in everything that you have going on. And so like I've been so blessed, and I realized that, and it's like I don't know why my life was shaped this way to be in this position, You know, it kind of just happened. That wasn't on my own doing. You know, a lot of other things had to happen for that to happen. So that's just how I view it. You know, I'm just a regular guy. I have a cool job, and yeah, it's really not that big of a deal.
Your dad had a great quote on his Instagram a month or two ago. It said, "Your hunger to be successful must exceed your thirst to shine."
Hunger to be successful must exceed your thirst to shine.
I love that quote, by the way. I mean, I'm going to borrow it.
People get caught up and wrapped up in the wrong stuff. You know, like I said, you know, in the environment that we're in, you know, it's constant, you know, people telling you, you know, what you want to hear, all these great things about you. And you can get caught up in that and wrapped up in it and, you know, really feel like, man, yeah, I really did this. Like, yeah, I'm really him. Like, yeah, like I did this by myself. But bro, no one does anything by themselves. And so I think guys get caught up in that, and then that's how they start living and treating people. And you know, so that quote is talking about, you know, you got to be, that quote to me sounds like, you know, you got to be obsessed with grinding, the hard work, the process, rather than obsessed with how I'm going to shine or how I'm going to, you know, be in the limelight, because that stuff is fleeting. That stuff comes and goes. You know, everything is, you know, for a moment, momentarily you might be the guy that's everybody's talking about, but it's not going to be forever, and you're going to have to deal with that at some point.
You were 13 years old. You were working a concession stand at a Pro-Am basketball game and selling Costco hot dogs for a profit. Were your parents telling you, hey, Arik, you got to plan for your future no matter what you do? Did you have the entrepreneurial drive then? Because we're going to talk about what you're going to do after football later. But what was behind upselling Costco hot dogs?
I had no entrepreneurial drive at that time. Really, the entrepreneurial drive in my family was my oldest brother. So my oldest brother started a snack bar, and he did it to make some money before he went off to college. Then he went off to college, and then I got the keys to the snack bar and kept, you know, running it. But the kind of business was already kind of in place. You know, we go to Costco, a pack of hot dogs is $9.99 for a 30 pack. You know what I'm saying? We go in there, we go buy all the stuff, and then we used to like create little meal deals, like a hot dog, chips, and a drink.
Called a meal deal?
A meal deal, yeah.
People ate mildew?
Yeah. No, a meal deal. Like a meal deal, yeah.
Oh, a meal deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like so we used to call it like a meal deal.
Oh, a meal deal. Okay.
Yeah, like a you know, like you go to McDonald's and order a number one. Okay. So like we used to sell the items separately, or you could, you know, make it a little deal. And I think it was like I don't know, we used to charge for that, like $4 or something. And yeah, and then we was just kind of running it up that way. But entrepreneurial drive.
We've talked about some stuff. You know, you called me a couple times. What do you think about this?
Yeah, no, entrepreneurial drive as a kid, I would say wasn't there. Entrepreneurial drive kind of started for me, I would say, in college, really. Not that I like executed on any of it, but those are when like my ideas and stuff, that's when I started thinking different, really, and viewing. I feel like that's when like my creativity kicked in, and I start like walking through life, like viewing, asking questions, trying to problem solve. I was telling my friend, like, we were talking about this the other day, like when my freshman year in college, I got sick, and like FaceTime had just came out, and I was like, man, like I'm sick. It would be cool if people could like FaceTime your doctor just from like the comfort of your home and like not have to like go in, and like that would be like pretty cool. Like stuff like that. Like I used to my brain started working differently, and then I started like viewing stuff and seeing like where problems could be solved, things that I think people would like or would enjoy. And so I don't know, I'm still the same way now. And but it's not really like just stuff just kind of comes to me at times.
You could have been the first one doing the telehealth. I think there's probably been $50 billion of wealth created.
Yeah. But I was in college, playing football. You know, everyone has ideas. It's all about the execution at the end of the day, though. But yeah, but my brain did start working differently when I got to college.
So I think one of the things that's most important to our success is work ethic. And sometimes we got to get our ass kicked by someone. Tell us about what happened with Matt Barnes when you were 13 years old.
Yeah, Matt.
First of all, Matt was a very good
Yeah,
NBA player.
my dad started training Matt in high school, so I knew Matt, you know, since I was a kid, and every summer he trained with my dad in Sacramento, and so I used to be around the gym. Obviously, I wasn't old enough to. I started training and playing with the guys, the pros, probably when I was 14 or 15. But before then, like, I could train, you know, with the high school sessions.
Playing basketball, just for the viewers. I mean, we're going to talk about basketball and football, but right now
so
you're
this is
talking
basketball.
about that. You were a beast in basketball as well.
This is basketball. So I used to be able to get in some of the drills, like around that time, with the guys. I couldn't play with them yet, like 5-on-5 and stuff. Couldn't play with them, but I used to get in the drills, and then my dad used to have like other groups and sessions, you know, not pro guys, and I could get in those and play. And so I'm playing. I'm working out. Like I said, I used to be in the gym every day. I'm working out with my dad, and I'm actually working out with some of his high school girls that he used to train that are going to go to that were going to college too. And so I'm like 13. They're in college. Some of them are about to go to college. And this is right before like the pros are working out. So pros are coming to the gym, Matt's coming to the gym. Everybody's kind of like watching, you know, getting ready, watching. And Matt just didn't like the way I was working that day. Like, he felt like the girls were like outworking me, or like I was like being lazy, which I probably was, because I mean, I do this I'm always doing this type of stuff. And he pulled me to the side and was just like, what are you doing? Like, you look bad. Like, you gonna let these girls like outwork you in a workout? Like, do you want to be good? Like, he's like, don't ever like let me see you like training like that and not giving effort. And I was like, dang, like I was 13. Obviously I looked up to Matt. He's in the NBA. And it kind of hurt, but it was true. It was like, man, like these guys are actually taking an interest in me, and I better be, you know, on my stuff. Like, and I need to be, you know, self-evaluate and like work harder. And, you know, fast forward now, you know, all those guys are like super proud of me, obviously, for everything that I'm doing. And they never would even imagine like this little chubby kid in the gym.
You're chubby?
Yeah, I was a little chubby kid.
When did you have the growth spurt? Like, how old were you? How tall were you? Maybe in 6th grade, 8th grade, and then when did you?
I was always a bigger kid, and there was like a couple kids as big as me. And then like 8th grade, like middle school through high school, I used to grow 2 inches and gain 20 pounds every year. So it wasn't like one summer I just sprouted like 5-6 inches. It was like 2 inches, 20 pounds. So I was like 6'3", 6'5", 260. Next year I was like 6'7", 285. Like I just kept kind of getting bigger and bigger gradually.
Natural diet, eating your Wheaties?
Nah, it's just blessed, really. It's just God, really. I mean, my dad is like 6'2", 6'3". My mom's like 5'8". So they're not small people. But one of my brothers is 6'3", and my other brother is 6'5". I don't know how I got 6'8". I don't know where that came from.
So basketball is your true love. You're hanging out with the gym, NBA players. You didn't touch a football till the 8th grade.
I actually played when I was real young. Didn't like it, quit.
When you say young, how young?
Like 10, 11.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was like 10 or 11, I tried football. I was like, this is trash. I was terrible. I was a big kid, so I had to play up because they had like weight restrictions. So I was a big kid. I had to play with the older kids. Kids was way more mature and advanced than me. They was killing me. I was like, bro, this is trash. Like, I used to hide like in the back of drills. It was nothing but conditioning. You get there and they make you just run laps, and I'm like, bro, this is not it. And at the time I was really good at basketball. So it was like I was starting something that I wasn't good at. So it was like, I don't like this feeling of not being good. And so I stopped playing. I played 2 years, stopped playing for like 2 years. And then my 8th grade year, my basketball coach convinced me to try football again. And his son played on the team. And he's like, man, you gotta do something. Like, you hella big. Like, you gotta do something. And at the time, my 8th grade year, my brother was an All-American in high school. He was going to USC.
In hoops?
No, football.
Oh, in football.
Yeah, in football. So he was an All-American going to USC. So everybody was looking at me like, your brother don't play football? Like, what is he doing? Like, so I was, so I felt pressure. Like, dang, I gotta be good. To, everybody looking at me because my brother's good. I gotta be good too. So I started playing. Wasn't very good, but I started getting better and better throughout my 8th grade year. And then my freshman year of high school, I got a lot better. And then after my freshman year of high school, it was when I got my first scholarship offer. So I got a scholarship offer before I played varsity football.
Right. So we'll talk about that in a second. When was the first time you threw one down and did a tomahawk dunk over everyone? And when that happened, did you give the stare to everybody? Man, I got this.
A dunk? I started dunking like freshman year of high school. I wasn't super bouncy like that. Dunked on somebody? Probably didn't dunk on anybody until maybe like my junior year. Yeah, junior year of high school. I wasn't very like. I was a big kid, so I wasn't like very like. I wasn't super bouncy. Like, my game was more skilled like on the ground. But I started dunking like my freshman year.
When I was a senior at Michigan, Chris Webber was a senior at my high school, Detroit Country Day. They were in the finals, and he was a man-child, right? How old are you? Your freshman year in high school? I think it's 14 years old.
Yeah.
I think he's 6'7", and he was tomahawk dunking over these kids. I mean, it was like, these kids were blips on the screen. I don't know if he had like 35 points or something, but I mean, they just couldn't stop him. They had no one on him at all.
Yeah, I would say I wasn't like a man-child like that when I was a kid. I kind of became like a man-child like in high school, where like I just kept going like this, and then like the other kids just started going like that.
So you switched to football, and you had goals. You wrote the goals on your door every day. What did the goals say, and how are you tracking them?
Yeah, me and my dad used to write goals every year. So when I started playing football, I get to high school. Some of my goals in high school were I wanted to be an Army All-American and a McDonald's All-American. So I wanted to be, and my goal was to play football and basketball in college. And I wanted to be the first person to play in the NBA and NFL.
And we'll talk about, you played a little bit your freshman year in college, and then you really had to focus, but you accomplished your goals. And then what is your advice to people who set these goals? I mean, I don't think a lot of people in high school write goals on their doors. Should they? What's the importance of writing things down and holding yourself accountable to them?
I think you should write your goals. I think you should dream big. Also, you should protect your goals, especially if you're easily swayed otherwise.
What does that mean, protect your goals?
You should protect your goals from other people who are pessimistic and ain't really did nothing with their life, so they're gonna project their failures onto you.
Haters.
Not even like hating on you, but like, cause they could mean well, but just like, when I was like, I want to play at the next level, football and basketball. Like, these are things I want to do. No, I mean, it's not, like, it's probably not going to work. It's not going to happen. When I started playing football, everybody was like, you should just play O-line. Like, I don't know why you're trying to play D-line. Like, you're more of an offensive lineman. I shouldn't play both sports. I should just focus on one. No one can do that. And I haven't done it yet. I haven't played in both yet, but I think dreaming like that and working that way, got me to this point and where I'm at now.
You still want to play in the NBA?
Yeah, I think when I retire from football, I might I might give it a shot.
Seriously?
Yeah, play in the G League and see what's up.
You told me once at dinner, well before I did my research for this podcast, that I had a choice. I could have played in the NBA and could play in the NFL, and I was thinking, what? I mean, just that simple. I mean, most people just don't have the skill set to do both.
No, it would have been. I can't say that I just would have made it to the NBA. I think, being realistic now, like basketball wise, like going back, if I would have had like a little bit of a different plan. Like I would have stayed around like 260, 270. Like playing basketball at like 290, 300 is pretty tough. Yeah, I would have. So I would have did things a little differently. So I can't say that I would have for sure like made it to the NBA, but I think I had. A great skill set, and could have possibly done it. But I feel like I would have really had to focus in on basketball if that was the case. But could have been done for sure. I mean, like my dad and the players he works with, a lot of the players specialize in, at that time, undrafted guys working their way up through the G League, like Matt Barnes, Mike Wilkes, all these people I'm talking about. They weren't drafted. Matt had to start in the G League and make a career for himself and like really develop. So I feel like I could have did that and got in the league somehow.
There's so many parents I know who push their kids to be great at sports. They're driving them around to practice or driving to games or pushing them. You should do this, you should do that. You were hitting the gym and the weights at 6 a.m. Do you think athletes can be successful if they're not motivated internally and you have people just pushing them to be their best and to perform at the highest level?
No, I don't think they'll be successful without internal motivation. I think my dad did that very well. It was like, he never like forced me, to necessarily like go work out or like, he laid the table and it was like, if you want to do this, this is what you need to do. So it definitely takes a lot of internal motivation. I think parents can cultivate that though in some ways, like exposing their kids to different things and not just what you think is best for them, but exposing them to different things and whatever they take a liking to. But I think you definitely have to have that passion, for it. It's not going to work if it's just forced.
You mentioned you got a college recruiting offer. It was from UCLA. Defensive line coach named Todd Howard recruited you, even though you had never played a down of varsity football. Mm-hmm. Were you thinking, man, I'm the man? And was college any less important to you in terms of your studies? Or were you thinking, I really don't need to study at this point because I'm 14 years old, I know where I'm going, and education is not that important to me?
I would say education was not super important to me. It was somewhat of a means to an end. Like, it was important in the sense that, like, there was standards. Like, our standard in our family was like A's and B's, but it wasn't like, if you don't get straight A's, blah, blah, blah. So not that I didn't take school important, like I tried, I did my best. I wasn't just like, oh, I'm just not gonna, I'm just focused on sports, because I knew that you had to go to school to, get to where you want to get to. And so, yeah, but it wasn't as of importance to me that I feel like now, as it, should have been to me back then, I would say. And I wish I would have did a few things differently.
What would you have done differently?
Definitely in college, I would have got out of my comfort zone, met some other people around campus, like tapped in with other students.
Because you were hanging around with the
yeah,
athletes?
just not been so like football.
Right.
I would have, just not made everything so football. I wanted to study business. Then then you learn like, oh, like business is like actually a grad school thing.
Well, not if you go to a great school like University of Michigan, it's not.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you can study
There's an undergrad, yeah. There's
a good undergrad.
There's a great, yeah. The Ross School of Business, you can get in your junior year. You apply, and then
really?
and then you get in. Yeah.
I didn't
And some
know that.
people can get in now freshman year.
Yeah.
In fact,
Actually, that you say that, like, I actually wish I would have took a trip to Michigan, just at the time, and.
Did they recruit you? I mean, we're going to talk about your
Michigan
recruiting.
recruited me.
So
Brady Hoke.
Who?
Brady Hoke.
Yeah, Brady Hoke. Mm-hmm. So I'm a huge Michigan guy, and you can congratulate me being national champion this year. It was a great moment for us. But Brady Hoke was a terrible coach for us, right? I mean, he was awful. And some of the players that I knew on the team said I didn't have respect for a coach who wasn't in shape. He was a little heavy, he was a little schlocky looking, and he just didn't look physically great. Do you agree with that?
In terms of respecting him, no. I mean, Andy Reid is sloppy.
He is sloppy. The walrus. But people love the stash.
Yeah, Andy Reid is sloppy, and he gets a lot of respect. So
that's true.
I think in that situation, it could have been more. This wasn't going good, so then you like double it down on like, oh, the physical and the sloppiness or whatever. But nah, it's pretty a sloppy coaches that got a lot of respect.
So you're a stud. You're getting D1 offers from everybody. Bama among them. You go to Nick Saban's house. Hey, Arik, come on over for a little din-din. Mm-hmm. And then tell us about why Chip Kelly was different, and what should people be thinking about, all the recruits out there watching this show?
Well, I mean, I could have gone a lot of places. The thing I appreciated about Oregon, which I'm super proud and wouldn't have changed anything to have gone there, they recruited me. They let me know, especially the D-line coach, Coach Az, who was there at the time.
Coach Ass?
Coach Az, A-Z-Z.
Oh, okay.
Coach Az, Azanero was his name. Coach Az. Like, they recruited me. They let me know that they wanted me, but it wasn't like, but at the same time, it wasn't like they went like super overboard, like just did a bunch of wild stuff that, now that I know, wild stuff that's not like real, like promising this and promising that, and like they weren't like pampering me at the same time. So they recruited me, they let me know that they wanted me, but they weren't like, calling me all night and trying, So I actually respected that and appreciated that. And they had a plan for me. He liked tall defensive linemen. Me and DeForest Buckner came in at the same year. So he had a plan for us. And it had a track record too. Like they already had guys there, were like 6'6", 6'8". And I saw how they were playing. So I saw myself being in that role. And Oregon wasn't too far from home, far enough, but not too far. And we won a lot of games, had a great run. And so let's go Ducks.
He told you, go Blue, sorry. He told you at some point that he may take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coaching job. He still went anyway.
Who's that? Oh,
Coach Kelly.
Yeah, he told me when he was recruiting me, he said this. He's like, if you come here, I was like, Coach, how do I know you're not going to leave or whatever? He's like, I'm not going to guarantee that I won't leave, but I guarantee like if I do leave, not much is going to change at Oregon. Like it's going to still be, very similar. So he kind of prepared me for it.
Truthful. He was honest.
Yeah, he was truthful and honest. He's like, I'm not going to promise you that I'm going to stay here, I'm going to be at Oregon your whole career, but I can guarantee you that if you do come, not much is going to change. It's still going to be very similar.
Right.
Probably going to hire from within, which they did, hired Health for HR, who was the OC.
So college athletics, huge profitable business for the schools, billions of dollars. They were paying football players 20, 30 years ago in college, and now it's basically legal to pay the players, not from the school, but from sponsorships, and there's huge money. Did you see any of that when you're being recruited? Did someone say, hey, Arik, I mean, you're smiling right now, so we know what happened. So
I didn't personally take anything, no.
You didn't take anything, but I'm saying, like, what was the biggest offer someone promised you? We're not going to name any names, and we don't have to go into the details, but did someone say, hey, man, here's this Mercedes coupe, or, you know?
So with me, I felt like, you know, they read the room well, so they knew, like, my family wasn't on that. Like, my mom at the time, I mean, I don't know about how I feel about this now because we were broke then. It didn't sit like right with her spirit. It was illegal, so she didn't feel right about it. And like all the coaches knew that because like how it goes, it's like you let them know like, okay, this is how this is gonna go. So they knew like my family wasn't like that. So it wasn't a whole lot of, you know, conversations about that type of stuff because they knew like my family really wasn't like on that. We weren't necessarily searching for that.
Right. But people still offer.
It wasn't direct offers, but it was like, Arik, anything you need,
Gotcha.
let us know. Arik, anything you need, let us know. So I probably could have got like 200,000, I would say. From it would have been from an SEC school.
Where they would have just paid you cash under the table, give you a lump sum in a suitcase, or pay these guys every week, or how did it work back then?
I'm not one who took it, so
Yeah.
I don't know how exactly it works, but I've heard some stories about some other guys. That's kind of, you know,
It's crazy,
kind of
right?
somewhat how it works. You know, guys get a brown paper bag. But yeah, I mean, for the type of recruit I was at that time and like the schools that I was dealing with, yeah, if I would have asked for like 200, probably would have got it. And
today, you go to the highest bidder, right? You can get sponsorships, and I've got some friends who are coaches, and they just said, hey, you know, someone going to pay someone $2 million a year, $3 million a year, they're going to take it, right? Even if they're going to a lesser school. I mean, if you're that good, you're probably going to go pro regardless, give or take. Maybe not always. I mean, you'll get more chance to shine on a great team, so maybe you take a little bit less. But my friends that are coaches, I'll say it's just about a function of the highest bidder.
It is definitely a lot of highest bidder now, but I think kids should still look at their situation and, you know, think about what's best for, you know, your career, you know, your situation, because, you know, once you just get into that, oh, I'm available for the highest bidder. Now you're just super monetarily driven, and so I also think that they should definitely value the money as well too, but they should also look at, you know, who on the coaching staff is going to mentor me and help me become a better football player. What does the school have to offer me in terms of things I'm interested away from sports? Like, how can I get connected? You know, like I mentioned earlier, like I know now about like the alumni and everybody and how, you know, prestigious it is to, you know, go to University of Michigan, alumni all over the world. I understand that
most
now.
Most winning football program in history, biggest alumni base in the world.
Yes, that's cool. So like, you know, I think like those are the type of things that athletes should be looking at. And like, shoot, if I was in college right now, or if I was in high school going to college right now, I'm definitely gonna look at the money. I'm gonna look at who my position coach is, what's your plan to develop me, Because I was a kid, I'm like, I want to be out of here in 3 years in the league. So what's the plan for that? Like, how do I become that player? Like, is it I play some my freshman year and then my sophomore year I'm the starter, and then my junior year, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to help me develop my skills? And then I'll be looking at like, no, I need like guaranteed development away from football too if this doesn't work out. Like, you guys need to introduce me to X, Y, and Z, who are part of the university. I need an internship if I want it. Whatever you're interested in, shoot. Like, even if it's not like business, like if you're interested in music, like make them get some music execs connected to you.
Yeah.
Like, start those intros and stuff as soon as you get in college. That's what I would be using my leverage more than just money.
You know, what's interesting, and I want to bring this up at some point in our show, we were at DeForest Buckner's wedding. That's where we met. And I love football, sports guy. You were hanging out with some of your teammates, and you were kind of isolated, not really talking, you know, to the rest of the crew. And I said to my wife, oh, you know, there's some football players. And I said, I'm going to go over there. And she said, no, you're not. But I was already 5 steps ahead, and I was on my way over there, and just like, hey guys, what's up? And just want to say hello. I'm a huge football fan, and we started talking. And what was interesting to me is that, first of all, you guys were all super humble. You were actually interested in what I did for a living. And then when I told you guys what I did, one of you, and I'm probably not going to mention his name, you know, he was a first-round pick, coming on a $60 million contract, and somehow I started talking about my summer internship program. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, I'd like to be an intern next summer and learn from you. And I'm sitting there, shit. You know, like, my interns are freshmen and juniors in college, and here's a guy who's a professional athlete, I think at the time 24 years old, mm-hmm. is a millionaire, and he wants to be an intern with a bunch of college kids. And that struck me as huge, because I had an impression that a lot of football players, athletes, basketball players, yeah, I think it's more common now for people to want to think ahead when their career and their playing days are finished. But I just found that was a very mind shifter for me, and I was blown away by you guys. I just thought that was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, you know, for me, when I met you and got to connect with you, I was at a space like where I was like, I'm in Silicon Valley, I'm in the Bay Area. A lot of people are having conversations that are like way over my head, and I didn't like that feeling. And, you know, also too, it was like, there's gonna be opportunities, but if I'm so like, man, I have no clue like what they're talking about, and I'm like be off of it. So I was like, I need to learn. Well, since I'm out here, I need to learn about this space. I need to learn kind of what's going on around me. So when I come around people, I know the lingo. I might not know it at the expertise that you do, but I know it well enough that I know what makes sense and what doesn't. And when I met you, I was already, you know, interested in your space, and so it was like a no-brainer to like connect even more. And I really educated myself a lot, you know, during that time, and was trying to connect with people who, you know, had more knowledge than me. And during that time too, I went to there was a course offered. I know not a lot of people, but some people might be familiar with like the Harvard Business Sports like course that they do. Like, it's like a few weekends or something.
Yeah.
I did one like that. It was all on venture investing at Columbia University. So during like OTAs, I would fly out there on the weekends. And looking back, I probably didn't have to. I probably could have just went up to Stanford, but I don't know, just something about it. I guess I went to Columbia, maybe because it was Ivy League, and I was like, oh, but I learned a lot. And, you know, just taking that time to, you know, learn that, and, you know, it's helped me a lot when I'm interacting with people like in the space and stuff.
I hope you're enjoying this video so far, but before we jump back in, I want to know if you've ever thought about what you need to do to reach the next level of success in your life. Over the last 25 years, I've been an advisor to more than 50 companies. I've invested nearly 100, including Google, Lyft, and Seagate, and I also co-founded a company that today is worth more than $15 billion. I've been incredibly blessed in my journey, and at this stage in my life, I want to give back. I want to share the lessons I've learned so you can reach incredible success way faster than I did. In my own journey, I've learned that having the right mentor is a massive advantage to achieving our goals. I'm hugely passionate about mentoring others, and I'm looking for a few hungry entrepreneurs who are excited to take action on their journey to incredible future success. So if that's you, I've got an opportunity. In the description of this video, there's a link where you can apply to work with me. All you need to do is answer a few simple questions, and if you're a good fit, my team will reach out so we can build a game plan together. All right, now let's get back to the video.
Let's talk about the wedding. I mean, we're going to come back to your career and business in a minute, but we got to talk about that wedding for a minute. I mean, insane, right?
Yeah, it was dope.
A good friend, Lance Sheblet, great dad. Shannon, great mom.
Mm-hmm.
Put on this sick wedding, Honolulu, and you and DeForest Buckner are basically besties, right? You were teammates, roommates for a while?
Teammates, roommates in college.
Teammates, roommates. So
roommates for a while in college as well too. Teammates, and then, obviously played together with the Niners too. So we had been together like 5? Yeah, we've been together 5 years in professionally, and then 3 years in college. So
a couple things I remember from that wedding. First is how awesome it was.
Mm-hmm.
Second was great people were there, and I met some great people like you who become lifelong friends. And third, that DeForest Buckner is one of the best dancers I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and the guy, what is he, 6'9", 290, and he was doing the moonwalk like Michael Jackson. I was looking, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he can definitely dance. I didn't see that's how he is. Like, that's why he's a good player too. He's loose and athletic, and he can dance. He can dance crazy. I've seen it on multiple occasions.
So let's talk about junior year. You finished playing. You don't play your senior year, 2015 draft. You're the 17th pick. These drafts are spectacles, right? Now they're televised live, and you got the commissioner. The first pick goes to the 17th pick, and all these dudes are in the craziest suits that you've ever seen,
mm-hmm.
right? You got neon green, and you got just crazy suits. You didn't go. You stayed home in Sacramento. You stayed home on your couch. You had a party with your family. Why didn't you go?
Well, for one, the draft was in Cleveland.
What's wrong with Cleveland?
It was, yeah.
Whoa,
all
the Cleveland people out there, what are you going to say to them?
Now, what I remember, the draft was in Cleveland. The reason I didn't go was because I didn't know where I was. My agent told me, like, you can go from anywhere from like 10 to like the bottom of the first round. So I was like, yeah, I'm not about to be out there looking dumb if this don't go how it's supposed to.
You were worried, you were afraid that your stock would fall and you wouldn't hit the first round, so you didn't want to be embarrassed going?
That, because I didn't know, I wasn't like a bona fide, like lock, top 10 pick, or like my draft range was pretty wide. So you never know how it's gonna go. And then too, I watched it with my family, but we also had a party for like, literally like I feel like every significant person in my life was like there. So there was like a watch party. So then I went and met with all those people as well too. So it was a great experience for me. I wouldn't have changed it, because I got to share that with so many other people who played a huge role in my life, that I wouldn't have been able to, they would have been just excited from home or whatever, but they actually got to, share that moment with me.
Agents are notorious for recruiting athletes even when they're not supposed to. Agents are showering football players with attention, talking about money. What was that like, and talk about Chafee Fields and how you selected him as your agent?
Yeah, the agent process is...
By the way, when you smile and pause like that, I know you're going through some really good stories. So just tell us about some of the guys. I mean, don't name names, about some of the crazy shit they did, and then tell us why you chose your agent. Let's take the filter off and tell at least one or two crazy stories about some of these agents, and then tell us why you have an awesome agent. You know, we had a dinner as well one night. Great guy, very successful agent.
Yeah, the agent game is very interesting. Well, back then it was a lot different too. It was more, you know, with NIL, I think it's kind of opened up and kind of brought everything to light. So, but back then it was different. My dad controlled my process of picking an agent, and there was a few people reaching out. Heading to my junior year, you know, there's a few people reaching out. And then my dad kind of was like the cipher. So everything went to my dad, and he's like, oh, this trash. We ain't talking to you. We're not talking to you. And then he would you know, so that was like the first kind of wall. And then after my junior year, when I decided to declare, it was like, all right, these are the three that, you know, we feel now you can pick from like these three who we feel like are pretty solid options. So my dad, my agent Shafi, he first like saw about me like my junior year because he told me, he was like, it was this game versus Michigan State. It was a really big game, and I played well, made a bunch of plays, and he was watching that game. I mean, he's like, dang, who is this kid? And so that's when he at first, you know, heard about me, and then he reached out to my dad after that. They went through the process.
Because he knew your dad was controlling the process? Like, these guys just show up at your dorm room and say, hey, I'm an agent? Or
So they got different ways. So it's like, you could reach out to the school. So back then, some of the schools handled the process.
Right.
Like for people who didn't have like family or anything to like kind of, but my dad's been in basketball, you know, he's worked with the agent throughout his career, so he knows the landscape from the basketball side, and it's pretty similar, you know. Also my brother, you know, played in the NFL, so it's kind of like me going through it twice. So Shafi heard about him, reached out to my dad. Him and Joel Siegel worked together. So they were talking to my dad throughout the year. I finished my junior year, play the bowl game, declare, and then I have like these three meetings, and just felt like, you know, they were the best fit between Joel and Shafi at the time, having both of them, and yeah, we've had a great relationship, you know, ever since.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question. Take the filter off. Give me one story about something crazy some agent did.
To me?
Yeah.
Bro, I honestly, all right.
Let's do it.
So, this is a story that a lot of people don't know. So, when I was at Oregon, my sophomore year, heading to my junior year, I had a friend on our team. We were real cool. It was spring break and we needed something to do. So my homie, he was like, I got this guy, like he's in LA. He said he can, you know, we can come hang out with him. I was like, oh, for real? He's like, yeah, I know him from back home. He's like, cool. He's like, come out and kick it. Like, I'll take care of you guys. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we got a little vibe going. Like, all right, we about to slide. We're gonna go down to LA, have fun for spring break, I guess. Like this. So we get down here, get down to LA, and
you drove or you flew?
We drove. We drove from Oregon, stopped in Sacramento, kicked it with my fam, and then got up in the morning next day, came down to LA. We get here, and we meet the guy. We have dinner the first night. It's cool, like, because we got there pretty late. It's cool. We go check into the hotel, and then we check into the hotel. It's just like a, you know, Marriott double room, like nothing crazy. And the guy texts my friend, is like, hey, yeah, like, you know, you guys need to meet with this guy in the morning. He's like, huh? What you mean? He's like, yeah, the guy who's taking care of you guys, he wants to meet you in the morning. And I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, it's an agent. He wants to meet you in the morning. He's the one taking care of you guys while you're down here. So I'm like, bro, what? I'm like, I'm talking to my friend like, bro, what, like, we're gonna get, I'm like, nah, bro, like, we can't do this. Like, I'm going to my junior year, I'm trying to leave. Like, I can't have no NCAA violation, get suspended or nothing. So I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not doing it. So we left the hotel. Remind you, we're supposed to be down there for spring break. The spring break story gets very long. So we leave the hotel. I'm like, bro, we can't stay here. Like, we're not meeting with this dude. We can't stay here. Like, I don't know who this dude is. And it's just not worth it, bro. Like, for a little double room Marriott, like, you about to buy us for a Marriott room? Like,
$100 a night.
Like, nah, bro. So we left the room, didn't have nowhere to go. Some crazy stuff, couldn't find a hotel room. By the time we found another hotel room, it was like a La Quinta for like $350 a night. We were like, hell
$350?
No. Hell no.
La Quinta?
A La Quinta for like $350.
What, I can't even imagine.
Bro, it was like the middle of the night. Like, I don't know what was going on in LA. It was like La Quinta for like $350. And I'm like, nah, bro, we're not doing that. We're broke. We're on our FAFSA. That's all we got. I think I had like $600. So we were like, nah, bro, we can't do that. So we slept in the car that night.
What kind of car?
My Expedition.
Okay, so you got a little room.
Yeah, we slept in the car that night in the hotel parking lot. Woke up the next day, didn't have nothing to do. Kyle Long, our former teammate, was in the NFL at the time.
Snapper, long snapper.
No, he was a offensive tackle.
Okay.
Yeah, O-lineman, yep.
Okay, I'm thinking of someone.
Oh yeah, you're thinking of I know you're thinking of, but Kyle Long it was off season for him, so he was out here. We went over there and like just tried to kick it at his house, you know, as long as we could because we didn't have nowhere to go, but we kind of overstayed our welcome. And then the story gets way longer and longer and longer, but I don't know if we want to get into all that, but that's probably the craziest thing.
No, we do want to get into just give us some of the funny highlights because I see you smiling, and these stories are incredible.
Oh man. So we overstayed our welcome at college. He doesn't even know this. We went to his house with nowhere to go, and we were over there chilling, hanging out. He doesn't even know that we have nowhere to go, but he's like, all right, like. You know, like, what do you guys, you know, like, I'm about to go to dinner. Like, we're like, oh, all right, man. Like, we'll see you later. So we end up leaving with nowhere to go. My homie's like, man, we didn't have nothing to do. We didn't have nothing to do. So we're just driving around LA. We leave Kyle's house. We're just driving around LA. He's like, man, I ain't been to LA. Let's go see where Biggie got shot. So we drove to Hollywood to see where Biggie got shot because he had never been to LA, and nothing to do. So he saw a spring break spot on Twitter at the time. It's called Lake Havasu. I guess it was like a spring break spot for Arizona schools. So he sees it and he's like, bro, like, it's only like a 3-hour drive. I'm like, So we were like, bro, it's only like a 3-hour drive. We literally had nothing to do. Because our plan was to be in LA for like 4 or 5 days. It's like, it's only like a 3.5-hour drive. So we're like, bro, we're not doing nothing. It's late at night. We're like, all right, let's hit the road. So we're headed to Lake Havasu now. And so we're heading to Lake Havasu. We stop in Barstow and sleep.
Sleep in the car again?
No. We got a little cheap hotel.
Okay.
In Barstow.
Okay.
Go into Lake Havasu. Get to Lake Havasu. I had like $300 to my name at this point. It was a spring break, and my FAFSA, which is like your financial aid, was supposed to hit a Pell Grant or whatever. It was like $1,750. And so when you get that in college, like $1,750 is like, so it was like $1,750 like every 4 months or so. And I was waiting for mine to hit, but mine wasn't hitting. So I was running out of money. But we get to Lake Havasu. We get to Lake Havasu. We get there. it was fun. It was dope. We found like a little Best Western. We had fun, but I'm running out of money. One of our other teammates, he was in LA. We tell him to come because his financial aid hit, so he had $1,750. I borrowed some money. I was like, bro, just let me get like $500 till we get back, and my financial aid hit. So it's like, all right, we good now. So like we're at the Best Western, Lake Havasu. I guess like it was like boats on the lake. You know, it was, you know, they had like parties and stuff. It was fun. We had a good time. We got spring ball in a few days. I tell you, the story gets long. We had spring ball in a few days. So we're like, all right, we got to start making our way back up north. We're in Lake Havasu, Arizona, I think it's in Arizona, Lake Havasu at this point, and we got to get back for spring ball all the way up in Eugene. So we got to start making our way back. So we're starting to drive, and like to get back, I think we had planned on like stopping like back in LA or something. But when we're driving, so we're leaving Lake Havasu, we're driving, and it's like you can either start going that way through Las Vegas or through LA. So we're driving back, and I'm driving, and it's like, we can go to Vegas or LA, guys, what y'all want to do? So I'm driving, and like we're just like, well, I mean, I don't know, what are we gonna do? Driving, and then like the exit is getting up. We're like, we gotta make a decision, like, are we going to Vegas or are we going to LA? Because you could just stop in LA or stop in Vegas on the way back to. We were gonna stop in like Sacramento and then go back up to Eugene. So I'm driving. We're like, what are we doing? And remind you, my other teammate, he got his $1,750, so we got a little bit of money now. You know what I'm saying? Like my homie got a little bit of money. We got $1,750 from his financial aid. So we were like, cool, we got a little money. So we're driving. We're like, all right, we're going to Vegas. So now we're going to Vegas. And so we get to Vegas, and we try to get a hotel on the Strip. We don't got no plans. We're just doing stuff at this point. We try to get a hotel on the Strip, and it was we couldn't because of the mini bars in the room.
Right.
We couldn't get a room. No one would give us a room. So
You're
like,
not 21.
Yeah, we couldn't get a room. We weren't 21 yet. So we're like, dang. So my homie, who, this is a funny part, he was like, man, I knew we shouldn't have came down here. Like, we're doing too much. We should have just went to LA, then went back home. He's like, man, we're doing way too much. So we're like, all right, bro, whatever. So we ended up finding a hotel off the Strip, a regular hotel. We're like, bro, he was like, we're doing too much, man. I told you guys we shouldn't have came here, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, all right, bro, let's just make the best of it. So we literally just get a hotel room, and then we go walk the Strip. So we're just walking the Strip. Like, that was the thing to do when you couldn't do anything, was just walking the Strip, I guess. Like, I did that all the time for like AAU tournaments, like when I was a kid, just walk the Strip. So we're just walking the Strip, literally. We're passing by Caesar's Palace. And so we're walking through the shops. We're past like Caesar's Palace, like a Louis Vuitton store. So we walk in to the mall area, and we see the Louis Vuitton store, but like nobody's in it. And we're like, bro, it's weird. Like, why is nobody in the store? And there was like two big old dudes standing outside with the Money Team shirts on. TMT. So we're like, Money Team? They be with Floyd, the Great Wall. That's Floyd's security. And then we look in the store and we see Floyd in there. We're like, oh dang, Floyd Mayweather's in there. So we go up to the security guards and we're like, hey, like, can we meet Floyd? Like, I walk up to the security guard. His name Big Adam. We're still cool to this day. I say, can we meet Floyd? And he's like, y'all some grown men and want to interrupt another grown man to like meet him? We're like, huh? No, it's not like that. Like, we play football at Oregon. Like, we're just like big fans. He's like, oh, you guys play football? I'm like, yeah. He was like, who are you? I said, I'm Arik Armstead. He's like, oh, Dad, you play D-line, right? It's like, yeah. He was like, yeah, my son plays D-line. I watched you play in the Army game. Like, I know who you are. And he was like, actually, Floyd likes you guys. Like, he likes the Oregon Ducks because he used to bet on us all the time because we used to always cover the spread because we used to beat people by like 70. So he was like, actually, Floyd likes you guys. He's like, I'm not going to bother him now, but you guys can come to the gym tomorrow and watch him train. So we went from not being able to get a room to now we're about to meet Floyd and go to his gym and watch him train. And my homie, who was like the biggest Floyd Mayweather fan ever, was the one saying, I told you we shouldn't have came here. I told you we was doing too much. So that happens and we go back to the room like little kids, like, oh my gosh, we got to go to sleep for our big day. We're about to go meet Floyd tomorrow. So we wake up the next day, we go to the gym, super dope. He was, I can't remember exactly who was fighting, but it was a huge fight. He was getting ready for it. Showtime, All Access was there. Swiss Beats was in there. Like all types of celebs was watching him. We watched him train for we were there all day. We were there all day. We were there when other guys were training, and then when Floyd got there, and he trained for like 5 hours straight. Sparred 3 different dudes. Like first, it was all defense. He was just moving and dodging. Second guy, counter punches. Third guy, he started attacking. Like he switched up his boxing style versus 3 people in a row. They kept sending guys in. Then we watched him hit the bags. It was crazy. Like that was one of I've been around a lot of hard work, but that was like the most hard work I've seen like someone do. And it was just him, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's just watching him work and train, and it was crazy. So we were in the gym all day. Like that was a, motivating experience, like seeing somebody that successful and how hard he worked. And then he gets done, we meet him, chopping up with him, and then, we're just talking. He's like, hey, y'all want to go to eat? And we're like, yeah, I mean, we're not doing anything. We're like, yeah, we're not doing anything. So he's like, all right, let's go. So everyone just starts leaving. He leaves, he hops in his Bugatti, takes off. His whole entourage just start hopping in the cars, taking off. And we're like, where are we going? So I just hop in my car and just start following. So we're following like 7 cars through Las Vegas. Like I'm trying to keep up with them. And we go to this hibachi spot, like close to the strip. And it was cool. We hung out with him. We're eating, chilling. He paid for everything. So we got done eating. It was cool. We talked a little bit. And then he was like, y'all want to go to the movies? And we're like, huh? I mean, yeah, we're not doing anything. So we go to South Point. And we go to South Point Casino. Whole movie theater, like, is just ours. Get whatever you want from the concession stands. And so we're just getting whatever we want. And then we go into the movie, and then like in the movie theater before the movie started, we were really talking to him, and he was telling us about like how he bets on us, and like he was telling us that like he always watching us, and got to talk to him a little more. And then the movie starts, and it's the movie Jonah with not Jonah. I'm sorry, Noah's Ark with Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, Russell Crowe.
And so we're watching the movie. Literally 10 minutes into the movie, this man stands up. Floyd stands up. He's like, man, this movie's boring. Let's go. So everyone just left. And then that was like the end of it, I guess. So
That's insane.
That was our spring break. It started off by an agent trying to meet with us, not having nowhere to go, bumming it around, going to Lake Havasu, finishing in Vegas, meeting Floyd and hanging out with Floyd. And we were like, yep, it's time to go back home. I don't know what more could have topped that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever had a spring break like that. Are you and Floyd still in touch?
Nah. I mean, we weren't really in touch then, but.
So I'm proud and pumped that Floyd's agreed to do my show.
Oh yeah?
He is. So
That's
I'm
dope.
excited. Shout out to Rodney Jerkins on that. Yeah. Who was an amazing guy in my show, Grammy Award-winning producer. songwriter, incredible guy. So he hooked me up with Mike Tyson. Props to Rodney on that. I'm super excited about Floyd. We haven't set up yet, but I will mention this during the interview.
He probably won't remember it. That's like a regular day for him. But it was, I would say the biggest thing I took away was like the training part, watching him train and work and seeing the level of success he's at. It was definitely because like how hard he works, and so that was real, like, you know, inspiring and motivating. All the other stuff was like cool, but that's like what I like took away from it most, for sure.
You get your first contract, 4 years, $9.8 million, $5.4 million signing bonus, average contract, $2,460,000 a year. You ever motivated by money, and did you buy yourself something really sweet and nice and say, man, I've made it now, this is incredible?
Was I motivated by money? I think money is definitely a motivating factor for everyone in the world.
It's bullshit when people tell me, I'm not motivated by money. By the way, those are the people you don't trust.
Yeah, I mean, money definitely isn't everything, but a certain level basic of like food, water, and shelter, and you need money to do that. So definitely was a huge blessing. Getting that first contract, I remember my first check was my signing bonus. It was 2 installments. So the first one was $3 million. So I got a check for $3 million, I thought, but it was really 1.5. So it was $3 million, and then they did the tax lines, and then on the bottom it said 1.5.
Well, did you buy yourself anything nice?
I really didn't. Nope.
No watch?
Nah, I didn't get nothing.
You just said, I'm putting this in the bank, saving it for a rainy day?
I really didn't know what to do with it. Yeah, I helped my parents get a house, but I didn't really. And then I, got some clothes. Got some clothes for like the season, just cause like, just to look, more presentable. But I really didn't splurge on anything my rookie year.
Was it a dream come true to buy your parents a house? That'd be an incredible feeling.
Yeah, definitely was,
Did they cry?
I don't remember.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry. But definitely, crazy moment, crazy experience, and just, realizing how blessed you are to be in that position to be able to do something like that.
Right. So then you became incredibly blessed. 2020 rolls around, 5-year contract extension, $90 million, $48.5 million guaranteed, $17.5 million signing bonus. Did your life change? You flying private now? You driving a Bugatti?
Nah, no Bugattis. Did life change? Definitely a lot more comfortable.
I'd say.
Definitely a lot more comfortable, and the sense of like decision making as well too. Just like, I'm not by any means the wealthiest person, but
You're pretty fucking wealthy.
I'm doing solid, man. I'm blessed. But yeah, it's definitely life changing. That's what I have worked for. That's what all the sacrifice and, injuries and having to deal with so many different things to get to that point throughout my career, and being rewarded for that, and the type of player that I've become, being rewarded for that was definitely special. And, I always wanted to, even as a kid, I always wanted to be a provider for my future wife and kids. And so, creating wealth for my kids and my family that I started, and making a better life for them was, the greatest thing, the greatest part about that. And that's something I dreamed of and have worked hard to do.
I hope you're enjoying this video so far, but before we jump back in, I want to know if you've ever thought about what you need to do to reach the next level of success in your life. Over the last 25 years, I've been an advisor to more than 50 companies. I've invested nearly 100, including Google, Lyft, and Seagate, and I also co-founded a company that today is worth more than $15 billion. I've been incredibly blessed in my journey, and at this stage in my life, I want to give back. I want to share the lessons I've learned so you can reach incredible success way faster than I did. In my own journey, I've learned that having the right mentor is a massive advantage to achieving our goals. I'm hugely passionate about mentoring others, and I'm looking for a few hungry entrepreneurs who are excited to take action on their journey to incredible future success. So if that's you, I've got an opportunity. In the description of this video, there's a link where you can apply to work with me. All you need to do is answer a few simple questions, and if you're a good fit, my team will reach out so we can build a game plan together. All right, now let's get back to the video.
I remember right after you got your bonus or your signing bonus, we had a lot of conversations about what I think you should do with the money, and it was basically find the best managers to manage your money. Mm-hmm. So many bad apples around professional athletes who are unsophisticated. What was that process like? I mean, you got a ton of people now. Oh, you know, Arik, I mean, they were watching you anyway, right? Because they knew that you're up for a big deal. You had 10 sacks the previous season, mm-hmm. right? So your stock had gone way up, and people were talking about big money. So at what point did all these managers come to you and start kind of flocking to you? And then I know we talked, and I know you got a lot of advice from different people, but what was that process like?
Yeah, I think, you know, getting that amount of money comes with a lot, you know. It's not the same. You can't have I think your attention to detail and, you know, your kind of system and process got to even increase a little more. So just vetted, you know, a lot of different people. To be honest, like I didn't really like the people who just work with athletes. I didn't, you know, wanted to work with someone who works with people where I'm really trying to get to, you know, later in life. And so yeah, vetted a lot of people. I know me and you talked about, you know, just a Vanguard or, you know, just, you know, having a solid, you know, stock portfolio, and that's the main thing of what everyone does. And it's not a whole lot more, you know, that's the bulk of what you do. But yeah, I found some good people that I've been working with.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about investing in the index fund, mm-hmm. S&P 500, and you know, the thing that most people don't realize is over a 30-year period, no one beats the S&P 500. I think there's 2 or 3 people alive. Yeah, we had that conversation, Warren Buffett, but you would have had to be randomly meeting him in Nebraska in 1963, mm-hmm. right? And lightning's not gonna strike you, it's not gonna strike me. And we talked about the value of compounding, mm-hmm. which is really the real way to create wealth. You know, put aside a lot of money, and here you are, you know, you're blessed. You got, I think, after tax, and I'm only gonna mention this because you've been very forthright about giving your checks online and explaining how it all works.
Everyone knows. You
right.
can Google how much I make.
It's public, which is, you know, sucks probably, but you know, you get $10 million when you're 26 years old. You just put it away and put it in index fund. You know, that's going to grow to $200 or $300 million if you don't touch it by the time you're, you know, 60 years old. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even include the, you know, the salary that you're making. So I think it's really important to educate people about money, athletes, non-athletes, because you're really talking about your financial future. And like you said, very important to think about future family. I made a bunch of money when I was 30 mm-hmm. years old, and I was planning for my future. Actually, I was 33 years old when our company went public, 31 years old when our company went public. And when our stock closed at the first day of trading, our company was worth $14.4 billion. Mm-hmm. I said, holy shit, you know, I'm looking on, you know, a bunch of money, paper money, by the way. So yeah. it's not real. And I had planned for people to help me with my money, even though I was already financially sophisticated. I still wanted some help, but thankfully I got a bunch of help. And I just think it's important. I was thinking about kids that I didn't have. You could do things from a financial planning point of view that we've talked about before as well. And I'm glad I had smart people around me who are more experienced than me. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I would say for sure, like having a liquidity event like that, that's real similar to being a professional athlete. It's like you get a lot of money when you're young. It's like, all right, what do I do with it now?
It's scary.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. And I would say at that time I wasn't, why I feel like I need advisors for me is I don't have that, that level of sophistication yet. I might be able to get to that point at some time, but making sure that you're, with the right people. And one thing I learned is like, the more money you have, it opens up to another level of, services and people that you can even work with too. Like a lot of, the top advisors and stuff wouldn't have necessarily been like, they got minimums and stuff like that. And so it's like seeing what it takes. And why that is because seeing what it takes to truly serve that amount of wealth at like a high level, it takes time. It takes, you can't be spread too thin, working with too many people. And so having that access to, more knowledge that I've been able to like pass down to people who may not even have that like access about how that process should really work or how that should really go. And I've learned, a lot more things throughout the years. But interesting story. I didn't even tell you this, but
I love these stories, by the way.
I haven't even told you this, but when I stayed at your house, I saw you filling out your voting ballot. And this could be a great discussion, but it's like, I had never seen someone do that. Like you actually were taking the time to, read and figure out who you wanted to vote for. Like I know like I don't even remember, I'm not even sure if it was presidency, but I've been to like the like registration, like I've been to like a poll or whatever you call them before, but like I'd never seen someone in their home like taking the time to like really like, and that opened up my eyes too. And like I started getting like the ballots to my house and like reading over them. So I never told you that before, but I had never seen anybody do that before.
What was the lesson there that I wanted to research and understand what I was doing if I was going to vote for something or not vote for something?
That and just how different communities decide to, for whatever reason, importance, the time, the input, into it, not just like checking a box. And yeah, like, I don't know, maybe even like thought process of like, my vote like really, like it really matters versus like, oh, I'm just one of, millions of votes. Like it's not gonna matter really if I do it or not. And you took the time to do it. So I did that, took the time, and like, it's hard, bro. I actually came with an idea from going through that process, but it's hard, bro. To like,
What's the idea?
We gotta talk offline about
Okay,
that.
we'll talk offline. Yeah, I think I'm very proud to be an American citizen. I'm grateful every day that I'm here. We live in the greatest country on earth. It's a democracy. You can do whatever you want here, and it doesn't matter where you're born, where you come from, what neighborhood. This is unlimited what you can do, and I think about on a regular basis. Think about all these people who are born into terrible conditions, dictatorships. I'm just very grateful. So I do take my vote seriously. I don't vote on all of the bills that come forward. Some of them are just not interesting to me, but I vote on most of them. And it's very complicated, by the way, how they present it sometimes. So I actually will go online if I don't get something, and I do it on a regular basis. What the hell does it say? It's way too complicated. And if I don't understand it, I'm guessing that a lot of other people don't understand it as well.
And it's the same way I felt when I was going through the process. I was like, if I don't understand this, Ain't no way, like the people I know, where they come from, there ain't no way they understand it.
Right. So they're making decisions based on negative advertisements on TV, negative biased advertisements.
Essentially.
So, all right, let's talk about when we're kids. There are millions of young kids out there who idolize professional athletes like you. When somebody asks them what they want to do when they're older, they say they want to play football in the NFL or NBA or some other sport. These are amazing dreams. I want to go over some numbers and start with the NBA. There are 30 teams, and each team can have 15 players on their roster, on their active roster, which equates to 450 players. There are roughly 500,000 high school boys basketball players in the United States at any one given time. Of these, roughly 16,000 will go on to play at a college level, a number that includes D1, D2, and D3. Of these 16,000, only 110 will ever play in at least one NBA game. That's a 1 in 3,333% chance, or 0.03% of getting there. Now let's look at professional football. There are 32 teams in the NFL. Each team has 53 players on its roster for a total of 1,696 players. There are 234 high school football players in the United States, and 6.5% of these, or 71,060, will play in college. Of these, only 1.2%, or 853 people, are drafted into the NFL, 0.07%. The sum of all this is that tens of millions of people want and try to become professional athletes, but only a few thousand actually make it. We're going to talk about Brock Purdy next in a minute, but before we do, what's your best advice to the tens of millions of kids, or even college athletes, who want to play professional sports but aren't predestined to do so like you, who still want to beat the odds and be part of the 1% of 1% who make it?
What is my advice to them?
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. So if you have a dream, I would fight for it, work hard, protect it, try to attain that dream, but also be realistic about your situation. Sometimes your blessing is just college, but like you were blessed to get to that point. It might not be that you're going to be a pro, but your blessing was college. And if you are so consumed in not being realistic with your situation of being a pro, and not being realistic about what is the actual prospects for you, then you're going to waste your blessing of being in college, and you're going to let that go past. Like I said earlier, like I wish I would have got out, did more non-football things, and I, quote unquote, made it. Like I still made it, but I still feel like I should have done those things, because even where I'm at right now, it's like, it's not going to be forever. I should have took advantage of those opportunities more. So I would say work hard, but be realistic. Like realize the opportunity that you do have and take advantage of it. And don't miss out on that opportunity, the environment you're in, the situation you're in, opportunity to, better your life. Don't let that go past for trying to get a blessing that might not, be for you. So, I mean, it's very like situational, like it's tough, because it's like, I feel like that is a lot on the people around the ecosystem, the coaches, the universities, these people who are around these kids, to not allow them to be so sports, because it does benefit the people that they're around, but most oftentimes it doesn't benefit the player, because like you said, statistics show that that's not going to be a reality for most. And kids get in this limbo of like, dang, what do I do now? Like, you told me to be all in. You told me that I needed to do all these things to be the best player I could be, when in the end that just served the people around you. It didn't necessarily serve you.
We got to talk about Brock Purdy. For people watching the show who are not pro football fans, there's 7 rounds of the draft. Last guy chosen, Mr. Irrelevant, that's a title. I mean, they sort of have a party for that guy every year, never gonna make it in the league. You got Brock Purdy, who's I think 3 or 4 on the depth chart. So what that means is you got your starter, you've got your backup player, and there's usually a player or two before they all get hurt. And here's this guy, unheralded, wasn't supposed to make it. I mean, none of these guys make it in the league ever. And here he is, one of the best players in the NFL. He's stuck on a contract that pays him $800K a year, can't re-up until the end of next year because of collective bargaining rules. Is this the greatest story in professional football for the last 5 or 10 years? I mean, I love this guy. I root for him every week. The underdog. I was an underdog, and I root for the underdog. Great story, and tell us something about him that we don't know.
I think it is definitely a great story. You know, I don't understand the hate that he gets. You know, he was the last pick of the draft, so anything he does over, I mean, like making the team was a success. So anything he does over that, it's like, you know, amazing. And so I don't understand like why people have been hating on him, but you know, Brock is one of a kind. I feel like how he carries himself, his presence, his like calmness, you know, but also at the same time, like he's reserved, but he's like knows when to like be assertive and like, you know, also be in command as well too. And you know, I think what makes him special is you know, being able to, you know, take what Kyle wants him to do.
Kyle Shanahan's a coach for the or people watching and listening who don't know.
Take what Kyle wants for him to do, or take Kyle's scheme and being able to execute that at a high level, but also being able to improvise and make plays that weren't necessarily like schemed up. Like, and that's what all the receivers have said is like, you know, in the past it was like, all right, if I was running a route, I knew I was gonna get the ball. But with Brock, it's like you can be running a route and then next thing you look up, like, dang, I'm not even in the progression. Like, I'm not gonna get the ball thrown at me. But with Brock, it's like you could be looking up and the ball's just right there because he improvises and plays on how he feels. And I think that's what has, you know, allowed him to be like successful.
Detroit Lions fan, as you know, huge fan. The season we went 0-16, I watched every play. So I root for the Lions every week. I root for you each week, except when you play the Lions. So we're in the championship game before the Super Bowl. You guys are getting your ass kicked by the Lions. What's the mood in the locker room during halftime? We went in. We bought very good tickets, so we're in that lower level bowl. In fact, I saw you coming out by yourself, saying that text. And everyone in there's a lot of Lions fan in there, and everyone's saying, "Oh my God, like we're kicking their ass. This is so great. We're going to the Super Bowl." And I said, "Man, just chill. You know, don't jinx our team." What was the mood? And you had a great game, by the way. So big turnaround.
The mood was we got to get back to being ourselves, and I mean, season's on the line. Like, what you gonna do? Cry about it? Be mad about it? No, you gotta go out there and play and do something. Like, and everybody has that mindset to go out there and make a game-changing play or do something for the team to win. You know, we were able to get it turned around. But I think winning a game like that, I think about like moments in games that people don't even think about. Like, I think about like 2017 when we're getting killed. We lost 9 games in a row, and we're still playing hard. Like, we're still fighting, scratching. Like, and like a lot of, not a lot, but like those bad years and your team is still like, I think we had lost like 9 games in a row by like three points or 1 possession or something like that. Like going through those moments, it like makes like moments like these, like, man, like we got an opportunity to go to Super Bowl, our season on the line. Like we've been through adversity before. Let's find a way to get it done, really. So I think those like those moments and those, you know, those years, you know, not even just that year, but following years, and, you know, then having some success and dealing with that, you know, being a good team and fighting through adversity and finding ways to win, you know, 2021, barely getting into the playoffs, and, you know, those last 5-6 games of the season, we had to win all of them to get in the playoffs. Like, we've been in adverse situations, and we're like made of the right stuff. So yeah, you just get it turned around.
And what are so you make it to the Super Bowl, most watched Super Bowl in history. What was it like playing in the game? You know, describe in 1 or 2 sentences what it was like and what that week was like. Was it one of the, except for the fact you lost, was it one of the best weeks of your life?
It's the pinnacle of our sport. But at the end of the day, for us playing, it's just football. Like, how I was looking at it was like, yeah, all this stuff is cool. It's my second time being in the Super Bowl, so it obviously wasn't as like, oh, this is amazing as the first one, or like, oh, like we could, like, I understood it more. I understood like that it's a taxing week. I understood that they have you busy all the time. I understood that like I need to do a lot of my preparation the week before because I'm not gonna have a lot of time that week. I knew like the thing, so I was just really like locked in and focused on like the game because I had been through the process, and that was their fourth. So imagine how they were feeling. Like that was their fourth in 5 years. So imagine they were like, it's just another game, it's another Super Bowl. We've been through this before. Like we know what to expect. So that's kind of how I was feeling, was like, this is cool, it's dope, this is a dope moment. You know, media day was cool, awesome. All right, when's the game coming? Like, yeah, that's how I was feeling. Dope experience, is pinnacle, like I said, of our game, but I was really just trying to be locked in and focus on what really matters the most, because there's hundreds of millions of people watching, right? All these media, all this hoopla and events in Las Vegas. But really what it boiled down to was when we get between those white lines, blocking, running, tackling, catching, throwing, getting off blocks, making tackles. It's pretty simple.
You talk about preparation that week for the Super Bowl. One of the topics that I've been teaching that I'm most known for is something I call, it's a different level of preparation called extreme preparation. And that means when someone prepares 1 hour for something, I'm preparing for 10 or 20 hours. What are the ways extreme preparation have affected your life? Can you give us some specific examples where you've out-prepared anybody and it's led to tremendous success for you?
Yeah, football all the time. Like a lot of my best plays I've made in my career were just from like me watching film and preparing, and like I knew what they were doing. Like a majority of my best plays were like just from like preparation, really. Like, yeah, even in the Super Bowl, you know, different stuff that I had studied or learned. Like I feel good in a game. I feel good in a game. There's like games, majority of my games, it's like 75% of the offense. I know if it's run, I know if it's pass. And I would say like 75%, I know like how the guy's gonna try to like block me. So some games a little lower, some games like it's like dang near like 100%. I know like dang near every play they're running. or not the actual play, a lot of the plays, but I know exactly like, all right, that guard is coming to me. All right, that guard's going that way. That guard is going to pass set. That guard is going to do this. So I think it's all preparation for me and how I play. I can't play like not knowing nothing, just go out there and be like, I'm gonna just wing it.
What are the top 3 ingredients of success?
Top 3 ingredients of success. Success means something different to everybody. So I think first is identifying what success means to you and having that very clear. And not basing your success on what other people might think is successful. So you taking ownership of what success truly means for you. And sacrifice and determination, I feel like.
You got wonderful wife, Mindy, 2 young kids, 1.5 and 3. How important, what's the right work-life balance? I mean, in the off season, you're not really working, you're training, but during the season, what's it like when you're training? Do you see your family that often?
In season?
Yeah.
In season's tougher. I mean, I'll be at the facility till, 6 a.m. sometimes, 6 to 6 sometimes. So like that bath time before bedtime at 7 is like big for me.
It's heaven, right? I mean, I love bath time with my kids.
Bath time at 6 before bedtime at 7 is like a big thing for me. But work-life balance, I mean, my wife, Mindy, she's amazing. She's a physician. She's a child and adolescent psychiatrist as well too. So she has her own career. I have my career, and we have these beautiful children. It's really tough. I don't think things ever truly do balance out though. I think it's like certain seasons of 80%, is here, and then I'm not talking about like football season, I'm talking about like seasons of life. I feel like a Venn diagram?
Yeah.
The Venn diagram is just always like moving and changing. It's never perfect, really. Like I always feel like I'm not doing enough for my family. Then at the same time, I feel like I'm not doing enough for my career. Then at the same time, I'm not doing enough for like things I have to do outside of my career. So I never feel like I'm doing enough in anything, really. I don't know. Do you feel like you ever like do enough?
I mean, I've got my companies that I'm running. I've got Sandy, the beaches company. We're building Yelp for beaches. I have a real estate company. I'm an investment firm. We're working on a book called Extreme Preparation. I'm doing some paid training to do some paid corporate speaking on extreme preparation. I've got my pod, which I love, and this has been great. And I have my philanthropy. So all in, that's 75 hours a week. And then I got to find some time for myself. And most importantly, I got to find some time for my family. So it's hard to balance things. It's been a struggle for me. But as I get older, I mean, I'm home for dinner every night with my kids, no matter what. And if I have to stay up in my office till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, that's what I'm doing. And I work 7 days a week. I mean, I'll get up on Saturday and Sunday. I'll be in my office at 6. I'll finish at 10:30, and then I'll go of the day. And my team will be getting emails from me all weekend long. It just is what it is. But yeah, sometimes I feel like I wish I could be in 5 places at the same time, especially when my kids have different conflicts, right? You got 2 things happening at the same time. Where do you go?
Yeah, I struggle with that. I never feel like I'm doing enough in any front. Like I always have that pressure. I always have that internal pressure. Like I'm not training, and I'm not training like enough. I'm not preparing enough. I'm not doing this enough. And then it's like dang, now I got to be at football all day. It's like, dang, I'm not being, you know, there for my wife enough. I'm not being there for my kids enough. But I'm trying to, you know, provide a great life for them. But what it sums it up, it's never going to be enough in anything because, yeah, it's just impossible.
Right. So I'll share with you a story that I never shared with you. And I went to one of your games. DeForest was your teammate at the time, and we got the passes to go. It's not backstage, but you hang out with the players. You know, there's a special section. You go down, and all the players are there. You go through security. I'm going through security. You know, there's a gate there that we all walk through, and the guy at the gate said, "Oh, yeah, your son had a really good game today."
Who do you think you were?
Jimmy Garoppolo's dad.
That's crazy.
My wife, Madison, said to me, she's like, that's the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Jimmy GQ, so what was he saying? You're good looking? And
I mean, I don't know what he was saying. He just said that we look alike. And when I brought up his face afterward, I mean, I guessed a little bit, but he's got dark hair, I got gray hair, and I guess there's some resemblance. But I'm like, man, I really think I'd be old enough to be that guy's dad. And then, you know, I actually could be old enough to be the guy's dad.
Technically,
I could be. So that was fun. And then, you know, I never played football growing up. I never put pads on, but I could always throw the ball. So I'm not sure I shared. So I didn't play varsity baseball in high school. I was on the JV team. Wasn't a great athlete, but the highlight of my athletic career. We're going to this wedding in the Bahamas, and Tom Brady was the best man at the wedding. I knew he was going to be there. And so this guy who was also going to be a stocky guy, you know, a lot of John before, and oh yeah, I'll throw the football. Oh yeah, you know, I can play football. I'm like, yeah, you know, I can throw pretty good myself. So we warm up on the beach, and you know, I'm just warming up my arm. I'm just throwing, you know, like arcing the ball over, and he's throwing bullets. Like, oh shit, you know, okay, Mr. Tough Guy. And so I kept saying, you know, back up. So he'd back up. He's like, okay, whatever. Now we're like 30 yards deep, and I'm throwing him back, and suddenly his balls don't have quite as much zip. He's like, you know, definitely trying really hard to get it there. So now we're like 40 yards, and Giselle was, the water's here, I'm here, the guy's down there, Giselle's over there, and I could see Tom walking by. And I could see he was gonna pass me right behind me. And my wife, Madison, sitting right behind me. So I tell this guy, JJ, back up. It's like, whatever. So I waited for Tom. He was literally right here. And I just let that fucking thing fly. I put it 15 yards way over the guy's head. And Tom said to me, holy shit. What a cannon. And I said to my wife, and she said, I heard it. I'm never going to hear the end of it the rest of my life. And that's the best it's ever going to get.
It made you feel good?
Yeah, it made me feel good. So I can throw a ball 55 yards, real ball 55 yards.
That's what's up. That's pretty impressive. I mean, you got the stamp from the GOAT. So
I mean, the second best was Cliff Kingsbury was at the wedding as well. He's also a very good friend. He's been on my show. He's actually my second guest on the show. And so we go on this boat, and there are pigs in the Bahamas on beaches. So we rented this boat to go. It was my wife and two of her girlfriends, and I said, hey, there's a really cute guy. Can we bring him? And I said, yeah, please. Like, I don't want to be, they're going to all be talking together, yapping together. I'm just be sitting there by myself.
Right.
So the guy comes on the boat, super nice guy, super chill, humble. I said, oh, he asked me what I did. Oh, what do you do? So I'm a coach. I said, oh, high school? He said, no, I'm a college coach. And I said, oh, you know, like, I'm offensive, defensive, no, head coach. I'm like, oh, you know, I mean, he's just so chill. I said, oh, you know, D3, what school? He said, no, Texas Tech. And I said, oh shit, you know, that's pretty good. And that was Cliff. And the story that I told on my show is we went snorkeling. So the guy, he and I went one way, the girls went another way. And Cliff and I mean, we're both in good physical shape, and we're sucking down water. I mean, the snorkel is off, you know, we're looking, we're probably 500 feet from the boat, and the captain on the boat is this little like 5'4" guy. And we're just looking at each other, this is ridiculous. And we start yelling at this guy, help, help, help. And this dude who's 5'4" swims out with the orange buoy, whatever. And he's basically towing us back in. And we get to the boat, and the wives come back. My wife and her friends come back. Maybe 20 minutes later, like, oh my God, that was the most refreshing thing ever. And we're sitting there like, man, we're tired. We look like shit. And we explained, and Cliff said it was the most emasculating moment of his life, but that's how we became super tight friends. But that led us to my second best moment, which was, hey, you want to go toss the ball around when we get off the boat. So we tossed the ball around, and he was a Heisman favorite at Texas Tech going into his senior year. So he was going to win. He threw 4 picks his last game, and he finished 10th in the voting. But he set a bunch of Division I records, some of which are still good today, and he can wing it, right? And that ball fucking hurts when it comes in at you, right? And so he's winging it, and I'm winging it, pretty good. My arm is, by the way, it's like killing me after a while because I'm trying to keep up with him. And the second best compliment was, where'd you play your college ball? I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. I got two in 2 days, man. I'm styling right now.
You got the GOAT and you got the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah, I got the quarterback whisperer. So that's as good as it gets. Before we end today, I want to go ahead and ask some more open-ended questions. I call this part of my podcast, Fill in the Blank to Excellence. You ready to play?
Yeah.
The biggest lesson I've learned in my life is?
Anything worth having is worth working for.
My number one professional goal is?
Reach my full potential in not just football, but anything I have. I've been blessed, and I want to get everything out of my blessings, so reach my full potential.
My number one personal goal is?
To create a happy, healthy, loving home for my family.
My biggest regret is?
No regrets.
My biggest fear is?
Seeing my loved ones pass away.
The craziest thing that's ever happened to me is?
I don't know. Next one. I really don't know what's the craziest thing that happened to me. I haven't had nothing like too crazy.
Craziest thing I've ever done is?
Craziest thing I've ever done?
There's a filter right there.
No,
there's a filter. I see that
one. It's just not that crazy. I'm trying to think of like I've gone anywhere on like a whim. I jumped off like a rock on vacation.
That's all you got? A rock on vacation?
Bro.
Like 10 feet high, 20 feet high?
Nah, it wasn't that crazy. I don't be doing wild stuff, bro. I really don't.
The one thing I've dreamed of doing for a long time, but I haven't is?
One thing I dreamed of doing for a long time, but I haven't. Starting a company, starting a tech company, I guess.
If you go back in time and give your 21-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Trust your gut more.
If you could meet one person in the world, who would it be?
If I could what?
If you could meet one person in the world, who would it be?
I'd say Barack.
You ever think about reaching out to him?
No, I did think about reaching out to his foundation though, because they do a lot in education, like mine. But no, I haven't thought about reaching out to him.
The one question you wish I'd asked you but didn't is?
Being a girl dad.
Being a what?
Being a girl dad.
What's a girl dad?
A girl dad, like having daughters.
Oh, being a girl dad.
Yeah, tell me about being a girl dad.
Okay, so what's that? I'm a 4-girl dad.
I know. I'm a girl dad too.
I've never heard that term before.
You never heard of girl dads?
I've never heard of girl dad.
That's a thing.
I've never heard of a boy dad. I've never heard of a girl dad.
It's a thing.
It's a thing? I guess I've been living under a rock. I guess I don't know the lingo.
It's a thing.
All right.
It's like this is a whole girl dad like brand, like hats and stuff too, t-shirts.
I think I'll have to pick some up.
It's different being a girl dad.
So what?
Tell me about being a girl dad.
Tell me about being a girl dad.
I feel like I love it. It's amazing. Having daughters has like shaped me even more, and like in the sense of just having to think, from a female perspective, and like thinking about looking at our society and world and like wanting to create, a healthy, safe, inspiring environment where, empower them to feel that they can, do whatever they set out to do or put their mind to. And I don't know, I love it. It brings out a different side of me. I feel like I can just be even more lovey-dovey, and I just love it. What about you?
Love it. I mean, I live for my kids. I mean, my kids. I'm grateful. First, you wish for their health, obviously, and then people say, "What you've had a lot of success in your life. What's the most important?" And most important, by a landslide, are my 5 kids. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. I live for them. Elle now is 3. I read to her in bed every night. We snuggle. It's fun. Elle's in 1st grade. I mean, they still call me daddy. Mm-hmm. My girl's in college. That ended when it was around 14. Mm-hmm. So I'll enjoy that as long as I can, because that will end at some point. And my son Charlie, who you know well, you're very good to my son. You took him shopping one day on Melrose and got him some good garb, so he loves you. And you were nice enough to take him to dinner one night. He goes to school up near where you live, where you work. So grateful to that. I mean, I think one of the greatest ways to a parent's heart is doing something nice for their kids. And you'll see this as you get older. People are going to do some extraordinary things for your kids, and these are people who you'll just never forget it, and they won't forget it either.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
You're one of the most philanthropic people, not only in football, but in professional sports. You've been nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year 4 times. There's a video of you online, the coach telling you that you've been nominated for your team. Each team nominates one person. Mm-hmm. So you're sitting in the back of the room. You're the last guy. It's a tiered room. It's probably where you watch film, right? Or you meet together, team meetings. And you're sitting there, and he's making an intro, and it's you at this point. And you're sitting there just totally nonplussed, just, it's cool. And you were just so humble about the whole thing. Tell us about some of the work that you've done, how we can get involved, and what motivated you to be so dedicated to giving back to your community.
Mm-hmm. So our organization is AAP, the Armstead Academic Project, and I got into the education space because I feel that education equity would really solve a multitude of societal issues. When we look at the achievement gap and the poverty gap, and even down to policing in our communities, social injustice situations. And I felt that I didn't feel like it was fair that a kid's education was determined on where they grow up or their zip code, and I didn't feel like that was fair. And I truly don't believe we'll function at the highest level in society until education is truly equitable. And every student, no matter their socioeconomic status, has access to the same quality education that others do. And I wanted to make a difference in this. And so I started our organization, and we serve in a multitude of ways. I also don't believe in like reinventing the wheel. So we are a hybrid organization where we have a lot of our own programming, but also we partner with organizations who are doing the work currently. And I lend my voice, my platform, my resources to make what they're doing even better and serve more students. And so we focus on literacy with our elementary school students because we know that if students aren't reading at grade level by fifth grade, that the percentages of them dropping out of high school increase dramatically. And if they're not reading by grade level by fifth grade, the percentages of them being successful decrease dramatically. So we focus on literacy there because it's the foundation of your education. If you can't read, you can't do anything. You got to read your math problems, and you got to read it's the foundation. So we start there with, and then we focus on with our middle school students, we focus with our STEM education. So we have had multitude of partnerships throughout the years, offering STEM education to our middle school students. And that has been a lot of fun, working with students who never really been exposed to that. And then we focus on career and college exploration with our high school students, which is all about, I also feel that education school is a means to an end, that in our society, obviously, if you want to get, you need your education to get a good job. And so whether that is going to college or getting a job out of high school, kids need to know what's out there and understand how to get there. So we do college tours, we do career camps. I partner with organizations to bring students to businesses to learn how they operate, to learn the different career paths that they could get in certain businesses. And also too, we follow that up with how do you get there? So if you want to work in this sector of this business or in this sector in general, like what would you need to do in high school, in college, to get there? Because we feel that that's very important. And yeah, we focus on college, as well too, and college tours, making sure that kids are, have a plan and goals to get to college, and assisting in that as well too. So it's been a lot of fun. We do a whole host of multitude of different things throughout the years. And I've been focused on some advocacy as well too, in our state, with politicians and government, and making sure that kids are equitably funded as well too, and that the students who need it the most are getting the funding to, raise the floor. Students are performing at all-time low rates, and so it doesn't make sense to me why the kids who are doing better are the kids who get the funding as well too. So
what you're doing is awesome. I congratulate you on all the amazing things you've done. You're a role model for so many people, by the way. I love your posts online and love what you're doing. So congratulations on all of that.
Appreciate you.
So I've never had a helmet on, never had pads on, never been on a field before. Is it really that hard? Like, could I get a shotgun pass and I got good protection up front? Like, could I hit Debo for a deep ball just on a timing route? And, could I do that maybe once? You think I could hit a touchdown pass even though I've never had the pads on or the helmet on?
No, I don't think so.
How come? Come on, you're blowing my fantasy. I mean, when I'm out playing catch in my backyard, I'm like, oh fuck, I can do this.
Nah, yeah, it's not even about that actual like one play. Like, you wouldn't even be able to like get to that one play. You wouldn't.
No. Let's just assume, okay?
So we're just talking about you don't have to do it.
I don't have to do shit.
You don't have to do anything. They just throw you in the game.
Yeah, I'm in the game.
Yeah, okay.
It's like it's 1st and 10, so I mean, you kind of got a free down. Do whatever you want.
Cool.
And I'm back there. I've got a helmet on, which I've never had on before. I'm sure it's very restricted. I'm a little claustrophobic as well. And I like free range in my arms. I've never had the pads on, but I just kind of shotgun, hike,
Throw a go ball.
boom. Yeah, just a go ball, and
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
So possible I could hit a touchdown pass in the NFL.
I don't see why. I mean, you could throw, right?
I can throw.
Tom and Cliff confirmed that.
Yeah. Call Tom up. When we
I
leave.
guess in theory, I would like go balls aren't high percentage, regardless in general with like the best quarterbacks in the world throwing them.
Yeah.
So percentages of you throwing a touchdown, pretty low. But I don't see like, I don't see why you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, corner out to the end zone, we just call it, and
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't try to do that. You never know.
well, thank you for fueling the fantasy. I mean, I hope you hit your fantasy of playing the NBA, so we could share. This has been awesome. I appreciate you being here. You're a great guy. Super glad we're super tight. Thank you for being so good to my kids, my family, and me. Appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me. You got an amazing show here. Glad I was able to get on it. Keep going, man. I love what you're doing.